Welcome to this edition of the Dojo. This audition, we're going to have two interviews with two master instructors. We're also going to be covering, we're going to go back to the Millennium Invitational, and this time we're going to watch the grappling competition. Not my forte. Is it not yours either?
Not mine either. You know, it's like judo, and I think that, you know, it has a lot to be worked on a little bit, the grappling, I think.
Yeah, it's something you can definitely see the difference from the lower ranks to the higher ranks.
Right.
Like judo.
Yeah.
You know, an extreme art of balance and uprooting your opponent and that. But so it does resemble wrestling. And again, we had mentioned too that MMA will take the ground fighting in with the hitting and kicking and the full contact and that. So again, a lot of our arts are a mixture, such as jiu-jitsu, where you have the soft throws, hard throws, hitting and kicking. Taekwondo, hitting and kicking. Chinese will have their hitting and kicking.
Right.
Will have their chinna and their soft controlling techniques.
Open hand.
Right.
Open hand strikes,
You know, and to say jiu-jitsu, it's almost like saying aikido, judo, karate, all in one.
Right.
So many different styles. So in the grappling, some people in this particular, they call it grappling competition. Some call it tap-out competition. But you have your takedowns, you have your chokes, you have your pins. So we'll be covering that and the interviews. And again, you know, just a little bit of everything in the martial arts world. And that's what we want to do. And here, our first interview is with Mr. Baker, who is a master instructor under myself and started a long time ago. Mr. Baker is a retired school teacher, and you'll see his face at all the tournaments around in the northeastern Ohio. And now, on to the interview.
My name is Lawrence Baker. I'm a master in Taekwondo and Hapkido. I was dared into martial arts by my daughter. And what happened was I'm not aggressive, but I'm only aggressive when I'm pressed. So I didn't want to teach that to my children about aggression because it's so common. And I didn't want my kids to grow up like I grew up, where you had to constantly struggle to be aggressive so that you're not mistreated. So my daughter went to a park. We would go to the park and I would watch him. And my daughter, what happened was another girl, they were both about 10, and this other girl picked up my daughter and slammed her in the snow. I said, okay, that's enough with the dance classes. We need some self-defense. So eventually my wife agreed upon that, and I put my daughter in a martial arts class. And when she asked me about it, joining the class, I said, well, okay, when you get your green belt, I'll join. She didn't forget. She kept asking me about joining the class. Join the class, Daddy. You say you was going to get in the class with me. And what happened was, eventually, she talked me into martial arts. And I was about 37 or 38 years old. So I've been involved in martial arts for 38 years. I'm still involved. I keep going, and I don't regret 1 minute of it because it has helped me to be even more focused than what I was. Because of martial arts, I've stayed in school. I've learned a lot of different things. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts. I have a minor college degree in education. I also have a master's in arts itself. I have a master's of fine arts, and I have a doctorate of humane letters that I recently accomplished. So martial arts has influenced my life totally, and I am continually being influenced by the idea that martial arts has had on my life. Let me stop talking for a minute. I'll let you ask a question.
All right, now you said that you're still in the martial arts, you're always learning from it. Do you teach?
Yes, I still teach. I stay involved. I can't do as much as I want to before because of my health problems. Because I had a heart attack. But the doctor told me because of my other strength and because I was probably involved in martial arts, it probably saved my life. So right now, because of martial arts, it has some influence on just keeping me here. Otherwise, I couldn't sit here with this interview.
So what does martial arts mean to you? I mean, like you said, it's your strength. It has taught you a lot. What does it really mean to you?
Martial arts is a form of discipline, a form of staying under control, a form of being mentally able to deal with aggression, to control your fears, to control yourself, and being confident about what and who you are.
What would you say it would be your biggest piece of advice for if you have any students just starting out that are interested in the martial arts, if any of our viewers, are young, just getting into it, or any age, just interested in doing it, what would be your piece of advice to, get into the martial arts?
You will not regret being in martial arts. Your kids will not regret being involved in the martial arts. An example, both of my children, I have two children. One has a black belt in Taekwondo. The other one has a second degree black belt in Taekwondo. But because of martial arts the influence that martial arts had on their lives, they were able to deal with discipline as well. Both of them have master's degrees in business administration. So it definitely had an influence on both of their lives. So as a teacher, former teacher, retired teacher, the martial arts has influenced my family, me and my family's lives totally throughout. So because I'm an artist as well, because I'm an artist as well as a martial artist, I don't want to quit because it keeps me in control and it helps with my discipline.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for talking with us.
We hope that you continue to watch us, and hey, stay tuned. The dojo is what's happening.
Cleveland Academy for Self-Defense is Northeast Ohio's premier martial arts school. Located on Cleveland's near west side, we teach several martial arts disciplines specializing in Taekwondo and Hapkido. As taught by Master Ray Such, students of Cleveland Academy learn discipline, formal martial arts training, and real-world self-defense techniques. Classes are available for children and adults. Cleveland Academy for Self-Defense, the home of champions.
Hey, welcome back to the dojo. Now we're going to move on to grappling and show you once again the moves that they know how to do.
And, again, like we say, we're not the experts in this field.
Right.
And it takes a martial arts to know that your expertise. And if they were to ask me to judge grappling, I think I'd have to pass. I'd have to really look into the development of the point system much more than I do now. I as you'll see you'll see the takedown.
Yeah.
You'll hear him call 2
Right,
points.
right.
You'll see a pin or a choke, and you'll hear him have him release. But again, the biggest thing in the martial arts, and especially to the studio owners and the young black belts, it's that judge. There's only one requirement for a judge, and that is judgment.
Right.
No favoritism.
Right. Fair judgment.
Fair judgment. I mean,
Fair
you could,
judgment.
It could be your rival school, but man, you give the kid a point.
Right.
And so that's always been a thing, and it was rough in the beginning of Taekwondo with the Koreans judging and everything.
Oh, yeah. Especially because they spoke Korean and you didn't know what you're saying. You know if you
And
got a point or you didn't get a
yeah,
point. And at the end of the match, if you won or lost, you didn't know.
And in 1978, I coached in Seoul, Korea at the World Taekwondo Championships. And you're right. I mean, it was an American competing with an American coach, and we were the only Americans. And
Right.
all the international judges were Korean and everything. And
Right.
when they'd have their little talking to each other, I'd be clueless.
Right.
But I could see the point.
Right.
And that's all that mattered to me as a judge. But anyway, let's
watch the grappling.
here we go. All right, what we're going into now is as they build it, is the grappling. Sometimes at tournaments, a new event now is either called tap out or, basically a grappling, on the ground fighting. Very, very similar to the beginning with judo, when judo schools were at their prime. You have your throws, your takedowns, your chokes, your pins, everything like that. But these are kids that specialize in that particular type of a thing, of grappling. And what do you think, Greg?
Well, you use the terminology, they're specializing in this. And right here, what I'm seeing is they're trying their best to create something that they're just not seem to be getting it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You're working the person's balance against them.
Yeah.
Each individual having basically their own sphere of balance. And when somebody's outside of that, whether you twist, turn, step behind them, whip them around to catch them off balance. But basically, that's what judo is.
Yeah. You see here, you have a bigger guy who looks like twice the size of that guy, and he's just tossing him around like a yo-yo almost. Now here I see that these guys are kind of equal in weight, so it's kind of a better match, Of course, I don't know if that was an illegal move or not because the black belt stopped it.
Well, choke move. He may have gotten a point for that, but a controlling technique in a sense with a choke grab. There's just a basic Soto takedown where he and then puts a leg lock on the guy's head. But grappling is like the new schools now with the MMA. You're taking your full contact, kicking and punching, and yet incorporating the ground fighting.
Right.
Whereas here, their rules apply. When the guy's down, you either have the pin or the choke out, but you don't have the strikes. And in MMA, they incorporate all the kicks and strikes right along with the grappling, so the fight is going on the ground as much as it is, while they're standing.
Well, that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing, it's I basically think it's a new form of judo.
And judo Judo's an extreme throw art where many hours for rank, and in judo you actually must compete and be successful in competition to obtain rank.
Yeah.
You know, unlike the martial arts or in the hitting and kicking. But even when you watch the self-defense techniques, you're going to see hit, kick, and then a grab and a takedown. Just like he did right there, you're going to see that in the self-defense techniques. So the takedown portions, the choke portions, a lot of it is even in the martial arts, in what they'll call their self-defense portion. So here, they're just really simplifying the balance, takedowns, chokes, and tap-outs.
Well, one thing that's good about it that the judges are right on top of it, so that because within the martial arts, if you get them in a chokehold and go excessive with it, that person can get hurt.
Yeah, very easily
cut his win off.
Yep.
So it's good that the judges are. As I'm watching, the judges are right on top of this new sport. So I think that
you notice how much more difficult it is to take the person down as it is in self-defense. When the uke is coming at you, you throw, you hit, you do a takedown. Here, the individual is fighting the takedown.
Right.
Whereas in the martial arts, you would have that jab to the ribs, or kick to the ribs, or kick to the groin before you do the throwdown, which loosens up that person's body and allows you to do it. But in this case, they can't do that, so it's more or less equal against equal until somebody is off balance. And then, of course, your weight and your strength in your arms matter, too. This one guy on top seemed to have pulled that guy down quite easily. Let's see if they get up and he does it again. Again, you can see the center referee gives points, specific points for certain things as they are continuing. They don't stop for a point. Now let's see if he takes him down again. Nope. A little bit of a stalemate there.
Yeah, he's about to lose his helmet. Well, we have two good brown belts, so it looks like it's a little bit more
equal in rank and size.
Yeah, equal in rank, and they're both working each other a little bit more. You can appreciate it a little bit more when you see upper ranks.
We're going to take a quick break right now, but stay tuned, and we'll be back in a moment.
In today's world, there is an absolute need to know how to protect yourself. But who has the time or money for lengthy training sessions with techniques you may not even remember in a time of need, or which can wind up putting you in even more danger? With the Escape and Survive seminars, you will learn effective and easy to remember techniques for getting out of dangerous situations. No complicated moves, no expensive, time-consuming training, just common sense, self-defense. Book your seminar today at escapeandsurvive.com.
You two have disrupted my classroom for the last time.
What are you going to do about it? Spank us?
She can't spank us. It's against the law.
Spanking would be too easy. I'm going to cause more permanent damage.
And cut. Curious? Visit theindygathering.com, a film festival, and so much more.
We're back at the dojo. Our next interview is, again, one of my students. But this gentleman is a martial artist to extreme. His name is Alvin Harris, and everybody calls him Speedy. This was due to back when he first started. He was fighting against your students.
Yeah.
He had a fairly good kick into the mix-up, but he had fast hands,
Right.
and he'd move in on you.
Right.
Speedy has one of the biggest hearts I know of in the martial arts. Right now, he has some medical conditions that he himself cannot get out there and do it anymore. And when I found out about this, I told him, you just get into the studio. These kids want to hear about what you accomplished and what you did. He traveled all around the country with me. He competed in just about every major tournament, from the U.S. Open on to you name it, from California to Washington, D.C. to Florida. Speedy, and remember, I want to say this about people. You know, they say I take karate,
Yeah.
okay?
Yes.
Sometimes in your school, a simple white belt or gold belt, I use gold, but could be a yellow belt or an orange belt. Their heart is in it. To me, that's a martial artist.
Absolutely. That's a true martial artist. And
Taking the martial arts and being a martial artist are two different things.
Right.
That's when your heart is in it. You want the best for yourself. You work hard. You train hard. You do everything. You listen. You don't break the rules. You respect. You give respect. You take respect. That's a martial artist. And sometimes a white belt can walk in and just be a great martial artist. And it takes a while to develop the technique. But martial artists is something I myself, as an old timer, or Greg, would bestow onto someone who has the heart. So anyways, right now, on to the interview with Speedy.
Speedy.
Go Speedy.
This is Christina Michelle with the Dojo here at the Millennium Invitational. And right now we're talking with Master Alvin Harris, aka Speedy. Thanks for joining us, Speedy.
Thanks for having me.
So if you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself, what's your rank, your style, all
Well,
that.
starting from the beginning, I started martial arts in 1975. Started Taekwondo, and now I'm at the level of master. Everybody tried to change me from Taekwondo because I never developed into a kicker, but I was a decent fighter. And katas, it helped me out with my techniques, and I learned how to figure things out.
And now you were a student of Cleveland Academy, so you go way back with our executive producer and host of the Dojo, Grandmaster Ray Such. Can you
Yes,
tell
I
us
do.
a little bit more about your experiences at the school and
Well,
everything you
it's
learned?
been a lifelong journey from 19 to now. And matter of fact, Ray promoted me. I was his fifth master, the thumb, as we say. We've been through a lot. Martial arts to me is a way of life. And with Ray, like I said, it's been a lifelong journey. Martial arts is learning about living and respecting things. And we got like a love-hate thing. We got a love-hate thing, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Now, what year did you start in the martial arts?
1970, so I had first year of college, and it was a Taekwondo club there. And once I got in it, I don't like change. So once I got in it, even though I couldn't kick, I still was a good competitor. And Ray, he teaches you things. That's what I say. It's not all about fighting. It's how you apply life.
What are some of the most important things you think that you've learned through the martial arts?
Respect. But I think before that, discipline. You have to develop a discipline. Like the word enemy is in me. I have to defeat me. In order, like I have to respect you, but I have to start with me in order to respect you.
So you have to respect yourself, you're saying, or you have
Yes,
to understand
you have to
yourself?
respect yourself. You have to respect yourself. And once you learn that, you know how you love yourself. You just transfer that love to somebody else, or art, or like I said, right now I'm trying to stop smoking. So I got to transfer that discipline. And I learned from Ray, I can't physically work out anymore, but he still teaches me because we communicate.
Right.
And he's helped me a lot out in my teaching. And that's something that, like a lot of people, they just think you just learn how to do technique. No, it's a lot more involved. That's why they have degrees on black belt. Black belt is when you first, I learned years ago, is when you begin to learn. And at first I thought it was just achieve a black belt, you're there.
And you also have some students of your own right now, and you're teaching them. What ranks are your students right now?
Well, the girl, she's a yellow belt. She's a white belt, and the guy that's in my class, Bear, he's a yellow belt, but I wanted him here today at this tournament, but, things come up, so.
And you were pretty big on the tournament scene back when, you were doing more physically with the martial arts. And you said you weren't much of a kicker, but you did pretty well in the tournaments.
Oh, yeah, I made 3 national teams. I've traveled all over the country from New York to San Francisco. And like I said, I learned that you don't have to be the most flexible guy. I just learned to adjust. And that's what martial arts really is about, adjustment. Even now, I can't do anything, but I can teach someone. If they just open their mind, and I do know what to put in their mind, because you have to be very careful. I learned that about martial arts. You have to be careful. Just see a karate school open and just rush into it, and it's a lot of stuff involved.
Now, what else can you tell me about, through learning the martial arts, a lot of the different things that, you focused on? You did a lot of tournaments. What was the most important thing for you when you started out? Was it, going to the tournaments, fighting, winning trophies, or, was it learning to defend yourself?
Well, it started out, I was bullied as a kid. But then when I got into it, martial arts teach you not to fight. And I was thinking, that's what I got into it for. But I come to understand it better. But I'm somewhat of a trophy hoard. Tournaments, that was the way I could find out, does this stuff really work, what Ray is teaching me? I can't go out in the streets and just say, hey, you want to fight?
Right.
People think black belt means you can beat everybody. No, I love competition, always, since high school. And I've learned that. And the many friendships, when I walked in this tournament today, seeing you, being a part of your black belt, seeing somebody make the family grow, because that's what we basically all are, a family. And I've been with Ray, like I said, since I was a kid. And I'm way past being a kid.
Now that you are teaching, you have your own students, what would be your biggest piece of advice, whether it's your own students, people who are just interested in getting into the martial arts, or maybe they're new to it? What is your biggest advice?
Open your mind. Don't be afraid. I tried to kick. I knew I was able to execute all the kicks I needed for my rank. But open your mind. That's the most important thing I've learned. You don't hurt your growth. In martial arts, it's about growing. I saw you from white belt to black belt. You actually see a person like a baby develop, and then you kind of see how do they develop. Everybody doesn't finish, and you understand that, I'm sure. It's something to be blessed and thankful.
And that's a really good piece of advice. Is there anything else you'd like to add or tell our viewers?
Well, people, take care of your health. That's part of martial arts, too. Take care of your health. You might not understand what I'm saying right now, but when you get older and ailments hit you, you'll figure it out. But you just hope you can complete the task, because we're all on a journey and about completing it. That's why I say I'm still on a journey with him, with Ray, and I'm hoping to finish it.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for talking with us, Speedy.
Thank you for having me again.
Keep watching for the rest of the dojo.
Okay, welcome back to the dojo. Hey, you know, Ray, I just want to tell you that interview with Speedy. Speedy is the man, you know. When I think about Speedy, I remember, you know, even though we were competitive individuals, you were karate, we were gung fu, but Speedy would always come in our camp and he would always have some encouraging things to say. Whether he fought one of my students and he won or he lost, we still kept the friendship, the love for each other. And that's another thing that martial arts gives you. It gives you an understanding of what life is truly about. It doesn't matter how old you are, young you are, you can come together. And that's what Speedy shows. He shows the positiveness of the martial arts.
And you know, we were talking earlier, Offset, about traveling to tournaments in the late 60s, 70s, and that, where, you know, a lot of the blacks and whites weren't coming together. You know, my school goes back to, you know, around the periods after the Huff riots in Cleveland and everything. And actually, where I had located was, you know, where my grandparents had, it was a Hungarian area which had turned African American.
Yeah, turned black, yeah.
Yeah, and there in 1975 in Ebony magazine, we were written up as one of the largest black martial arts schools and had this big article. Not one of them had a picture of me in the thing, but that was with little Danny Wagner, one of the youngest black belts in the United States back then.
Right.
But these kids would live for the martial arts. Today, we do find those kind of kids, but a lot of kids, they're trying this, they're trying that. They're a jack of all trades. A little bit of, I take swimming, I take volleyball, and then I take karate.
Right.
Back then in the inner cities where both of us would teach, we never really went to the suburbs, either one of us.
Right.
And those were the kids that lived for it.
Yeah.
You know?
But you know what, even though, you know, we can say and we can attest that those same kids or children, as we say, that we had at our dojo, they're now doctors, lawyers.
Yeah,
They grew up and turned into some very well astounded people.
Yeah,
which, you know,
a little 13-year-old girl I took, Elise Harrison, African American, skinniest little thing, took her to Korea for the World Championships because she was fighting in 98 pounds and under. And who do we get for 98 pounds and under but somebody that age? She wound up with a bronze medal in the world, and I think she lost to China, which was about 24 years old and 98 pounds and under.
Right.
But she's now, last I had heard, she was a colonel in the United States Air Force. Her brother, which was one of my, is a president of a bank.
Yeah.
And these kids went on the right way. And that's what the martial art is. The martial arts are to develop the student in every possible way.
Physically, mentally, and spiritually is what you get out of a martial arts class.
You know what I tell my students in training? Mm-hmm. The heart first.
Right.
The mind second.
Right.
And all of this stuff last.
Absolutely.
And that's how somebody older, frailer, lightweight can beat somebody bigger, tougher, rougher. They've got their heart in it. They're putting their mind to work. They use speed. They use technique, and they do it.
Yeah. And that's just how, you know, at my dojo, I stress no fight. You don't have to fight. Be a man, walk away. Be a woman, walk away. You don't have to fight.
Yeah.
And when you have to fight, you won't see it coming anyway.
You start it, you finish it.
Yep.
In our other episodes, you know, we're not doing big budget or anything. We're going to tell you like it is, like it was in the 60s or 70s. And when we recall particular tournaments like Ed Parker's Long Beach, the beginning of the U.S. Open, and the Diamond Nationals, the Battle of Atlanta, all of these major tournaments.
Battle of Cleveland, Battle of Detroit.
There were so many tournaments that have gone by. So many of the old timers like Grandmaster Trias and many others have passed away.
Yeah, Grandmaster Sykes, he's gone on. You know,
these are individuals we'll talk about. Yeah. We'll bring up what they used to do, what they did, their accomplishments. But again, You want to contact the show, check out down below the website, and please mail us in, a DVD of an interview with your instructor or your whole school. Make it a group interview. We'll gladly air these on segments coming up, and hopefully, if we get enough of these, we'll go into an hour show. Who knows? But I want to thank you for joining us today, and look forward to the next episode. And anything you want to say?
Hey, just keep watching. Don't give up the ship. Keep watching us. We've got it for you.
And, for some of you out there, a family that kicks together sticks together. Go.